very good morning to you. Thank you so much for joining us today on Good Morning Abuja on NTA Channel 5, the Unity Station. I'm your host, Cynthia Opene. I want to say to you that nobody is a loser. It's either you are a winner or you are a learner. All right, let's kick off the show like we always do with this motivational. And this time, we want to bring to you the evil mentality. Let's see it. I will be right back.
Don't be a parrot in life. A parrot talks way too much, but can't fly high. But an eagle is silent and has the willpower to touch the sky. Here's the 7 mentalities that we can learn from an eagle. Number 1, eagles fly alone at high altitude. Eagles don't fly with sparrows, ravens, and other small birds, meaning stay away from narrow-minded people, those that bring you down. Eagles fly with eagles. There's a saying that goes like this: people you hang around will eventually determine the person you become. Keep good company. Number 2, eagles have vision. They have the ability to focus on something as far as 5 kilometers away. No matter what the obstacles, the eagle will not move his focus from the prey until he grabs it. Meaning, have a vision and remain focused in your life. No matter what the obstacles and challenges you may face, don't give up and you will succeed. Number 3, eagles are fearless. An eagle will never surrender to the size or strength of its prey. It will always give a fight to win its prey or regain its territory, meaning no matter what the size or big your problems are, don't give up. Instead, face it. Successful people are fearless. They face problems head on. Number 4, eagles are tenacious. Eagles love storm. When clouds gather, the eagles get excited. The eagles use the storm wind to lift themselves higher. Once it finds the wind of the storm, the eagles use the raging storm to lift itself above the clouds. This gives the eagle the opportunity to glide and rest its wings. In the meantime, all the other birds hide in the branches and leaves of the tree, meaning achievers are not afraid of challenges. Rather, they relish in them and use them for profitability. Number 5, eagles never eat dead things. Eagles never eat dead meat. In other words, an eagle does not scavenge. It only eats the meat from the prey it kills itself. Meaning, do not rely on your past success. Keep looking for new frontiers to conquer. Leave your past where it belongs, in the past. Number 6, eagles prepare for training. They remove the feather in the soft grass in the nest so that the young ones get uncomfortable in preparation for flying. And eventually, they fly when it becomes too unbearable to stay in the nest. Meaning, leave your comfort zone. There is no growth there. Last but not least, number 7, eagles possess vitality. When the eagle grows old, his feathers become weak and cannot take him as fast and as high as it should. This makes him weak and could make him die, so he retires to a place far away in the mountains. And while there, he plucks out the weak feathers in his body and breaks his beak and his claws against the rocks until he is completely bare. A very bloody and painful process. Then he stays in his hiding place until he has grown new feathers, new beaks and claws. and then comes out flying higher than ever before. Meaning, we occasionally need to shed off old habits, no matter how difficult. Things that burden us or add no value to our lives should be let go of.
The eagle mentality. Did you hear that? Eagles don't have time to talk too much. Because they don't talk too much, they fly high. The parrots that talks too much cannot fly. And again, please stay away from narrow-minded people, people who always talk down on you, people who always tell you that you are not good enough. All right, moving on, let's join Dr. Ajibade on our health tips segment. We'll be right back.
We're going to be talking in the next few points about things that happen because the brain isn't having enough of what it needs to function. For example, inactivity. That's I guess that's a fifth eye now. Inactivity. And there are two different kinds of inactivity. There's a physical inactivity and then there's the mental inactivity. The physical inactivity is probably better known. The body needs movement. The brain needs movement. In fact, some scientists say that probably the way why we have such great, really big brains is so we can perform complex motions, complex, multifaceted forms of movement. Like, for instance, this fine finger movements that we can use to, stitch or knit or whatever. That's the first thing that comes to mind. But also fine motions. Nothing comes to mind now. But we need the large brains for motion. My point being this: motion is critical to adequate brain function, adequate body function. And when you're not moving like you should, as regularly as you should, things begin to falter and things eventually begin to die off. So it's really important. Physical kind of movement, obviously, moving from place to place, muscular movements. In fact, what they're finding out now is that, especially as you grow older, past your 50s, past your 60s, people who don't do things that have to do with straining their muscles. I don't want to say weightlifting particularly, because you can do body weight training and resistance training and things like that. That put a strain on your muscles. They are finding out that when you do that on a regular basis, your muscles produce certain chemicals that are extremely beneficial for brain function, for memory, and for learning. Why is it that sometimes, in fact, they've done these studies in several schools, in school districts, where they make physical education compulsory. So the kids have to go out and play during the break time rather than just sit down and play video games or whatever on their phones. And they come back in and they've tested them over a period of time that those who on a mandatory basis go out and play and they come back in, they tend to do better in their test scores and in the academics. So, and that also applies in life as well. As you're active, whether it's aerobic exercise, weight training, and so on, we find out that those do better when it comes to brain function, tests of brain function. It tends to have a protective effect on the brain and body. All right, you can read more about that in our Dementia's Dirty Dozen handbook. Also, when it comes to intellectual inactivity, they're saying there's a correlation between having gone to school, maybe for the 12 years, 16 years and higher, that those tend to be more protected than those who do not go to school or who are illiterate. And I think that goes again back to the whole use it or lose it thing. The brain is an avid knowledge seeker. The brain is always seeking to grow, always seeking to adapt to change. And that adaptation, that change is crucial for its health and benefits. The picture that comes to me is a tree in a forest surrounded by other trees. You find that the root system goes deep and the root systems begin to intertwine and they all strengthen each other so to keep each other from falling, as opposed to those who have a root system that is not intertwined or they're isolated. Maybe it's just that one lone tree in a big patch of ground, for instance. There are no other trees to interact with and to strengthen root systems with. That tree tends to, when the storm comes, obviously that tree's more likely to fall as opposed to that tree that is surrounded by its compatriots or comrades. Those other trees will support each other. So that's the way I look at it when it comes to so that's the way I look at it when it comes to intellectual activity. Just learning stuff, whether it's music, whether it's writing, whether it's a new language, it tends to create more connections between brain cells. And as we get into it, you find out that connections, or in the case of the brain, synapses are the key to a healthy brain and the key to protection against things like Alzheimer's disease, because Alzheimer's disease specifically targets the synapses, those connections between brain cells. And so the more connections you're able to make between the synapses, the more likely you're going to have a protection against brain damage from Alzheimer's disease.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ajibade. Inactivity and dullness will always dull the brain. So we must keep the brain working. Now let's take this musical. Today we're talking about culture, tradition. And this time, please let's go and dance to this beautiful piece of music. We'll be right back. Wow, welcome back. I love the village setting and the dance. That was Nanaye by B9. All right, it's time now for us to take a feature on value and ethics. Let's go there.
Nigeria is a multi-ethnic society with a value system that is derived from the diversity of its people, religion, culture, and moral values. Based on this, some form of behavior, action, and conduct are approved, while others are widely disapproved of. The Nigeria value system today is believed to be evaded and eroded by an influx of negative characteristics from diverse influences.
The way we are moving, Nigeria per se, I have not seen light. Why? Because we have swept all this in under the carpet in the name that we are Westerners. We are the cause of our own challenges as Nigerians. I remember that when we were also a kid, teachers also contributed a lot. Because when the child starts growing within the family, the next community is a school. Teachers correct children when they are wrong. But today, teacher has no right to touch a child when he is wrong. If you tell a child, somebody's child, you now say, you'll be sacked or you go to court. And I asked on court, we at our own age now, is this how we were brought up?
We can also mention acculturation. And so when you see acculturation, you will now also see what we call cultural diffusion. And so when you have the acculturated culture going into your own, mixing up with your own, that is very fundamental and basic, then you see cultural erosion. When that happens, a given society is in trouble, because how things are done normally here will be eroded. This is the cause of why we are seeing great no respect for leadership or elders. We see lots of people trying to amass wealth that they cannot finish in 100 years. And so because the agents of socialization has failed, and if you talk about the agents of socialization, you are talking about the parents. They are the primary agents of socialization. The father, the mother, the uncles and all that. And you talk about the peer groups. You talk about the various institutions. These are some of the agents of socialization that has failed to continually hammer on moral values.
The society destroyed itself by imbibing the value of the non-religious Western nation. So, when you feed a child with unearned resource, you lose the trust of that child. You lose the compassion of that child. So, when all of this is added up, you will see how important ethics, values, morals are in Islam.
The principles of right and wrong that are acceptable by the society exist today amidst a challenging society of greed, corruption, illegal quest for power, to mention the least. How then can our value system be reshaped and restored? What role can morality play in our modern day Nigeria?
So we must have to go back to the drawing board. Are we moving positively or negatively? And if we are now seeing now we are moving negatively, we better retract our footstep and come back. And let's go back to where we are so that we can now modernize the way of living by inculcating the moral upbringing, the tradition, the culture, the norms and value. We the parents, we must play our own role. And the teacher should also be given free hand to assist in molding the character of our children. Traditional leaders also, they should also contribute, we should join hands. As a stakeholders, let us better change positively. Or else, society will never forgive us. Society will never forgive us.
A child supposed to have the mom as the first teacher and the father as the first model. Okay. So we must organize our society for the betterment of everybody. So it is for us to know that religion is established to organize us. We must allow the community to punish criminality. You don't attach criminality to religion, to tribe, to ethics.
The way forward is for us to go back to the cradle of socialization, the cradle of moral values, which has to do with contentment. That's number one. Number two, we must subjugate ourselves to truth. We must live a very transparent, truthful life. And also people that are given leadership positions, how far do you want to leave a legacy even when you are not there? Keep to moral values. Start from yourself. You become a living symbol. In psychology, that's what we call cognitive development. Now, cognitively, you have become a cognitive symbol that other people will look at as a moral value, and they begin to change. Because the family is the smallest unit of the society. And so when we get it right from the family, it goes to the whole society. And so we must live with God. The fear of God must be paramount.
In case you're just joining us, this is still Good Morning Abuja on NT Channel 5, the Unity Station. We hope you learned one or two things from that our feature. Now we want to go on our first break on the show. Please don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
go, ijo elele, Abuji kaila igogo, igogo ole. Abuji kaila igogo, igogo ole. Abuji kaila igogo, igogo ole. Abuji kaila igogo, igogo ole.
Yes, this is a very pleasant way of welcoming you to Good Morning Abuja. Yes, Sidro, thank you for joining us. Let's look at our music, the role of culture in our music.
Yeah.
All right. You are just giving us a piece of music in our own culture, and I'm sure in your own dialect.
My darling.
Beautiful. So, what for you? What's your take on that? The role of culture in music?
Well, this topic is quite a very interesting one that cannot be overemphasized.
Honestly.
Because for me, there is no way I'm going to define music without mentioning culture.
Wow.
Because first, music is not just sound. For us as Africans, music is not just entertainment. In fact, music is not entertainment.
We don't
first.
just sing.
No, to
But
an
we send a
African.
message. That's
Yes, music is how we show who we are. Is the reservoir of our culture. Music
Wow.
is like the custodian of our culture. Even our spirituality is built in our music. So we can't separate music as an African from our culture.
Okay.
And so anybody in this contemporary world who wants to do music well and then it's trying to separate culture from the music is that you don't know your culture, because you are definitely representing someone else's culture unknowingly to you.
Honestly.
And if you knew your own culture, you would rather
you won't want to
you would,
promote another.
you would rather do it from your own perspective of your culture, because no matter what, like this guitar I'm holding, it's not our native cultural instrument, but it's a contemporary. If you look down into our culture, you'll see that we have instruments that resembles the guitar, like the Hausa culture that have the molo, that guitar that is made from calabash, and then some other people have some made from wood. That's the one that represent our culture. But I can say that I've used a modern instrument to fuse into my cultural heritage, and that's
beautiful.
for me is like when you talk about culture, the easiest thing that comes to mind is food. For me is like, instead of just eating a BC alone, you just add a touch of
You know what I call that? Federal character.
So there's a way it feels to just mix small bitter leaf with a BC, and you see women do it a lot when we go to the restaurant.
This is still early morning.
No,
you're beginning to give them an idea of the kind of soup they should eat.
You understand? So music is just that unifying thing that can bring two diverse ideas and make it one. I just sang a very deep native, idea that people who knows my language know that song means something else. But I'm playing it with the guitar. If I just play the guitar from the beginning, they will never hear that coming. But the words that I spoke on this contemporary sound has brought the old and the new together.
Wow. Well, let's talk about preservation, preserving our cultural heritage in music.
Yes, like we've rightly been saying, there is hardly a way you can filter out music from culture, because our cultures as Africans, I must emphasize, because I'm an African. No matter where I go, I'm an African, and one of the easiest way people can know where I'm coming from is even through my music, not even my intonation. I can sound like anybody I want to sound like, but if I sing in my dialect, it will not be the same. So music is like I said from the beginning, like the custodian of our cultural values, and that's why you can see that back in the days when our parents want to pass on a very strong message, they will put it, even those cultural dances we watch. If you listen carefully to the people who sing, they just singing, they are telling a story, or they are passing a warning, or so when you hear that sound or those words, these values, when they are put in songs, It doesn't matter whether it's English or whatever, but anytime you put values in song, culturally or anyway, it lasts a lifetime.
Yes, yes.
It lasts a lifetime. So music has become one of the best reservoirs of preservative for our cultures and values. And those things are fast eroding because the younger generation are finding it difficult to identify.
That's my next question.
Okay.
How we can help our younger generation, to be
Yeah.
able to, we can use music,
Yeah.
use music to convey, just like you sang in your native dialect. For a younger person who doesn't even know, so what, as far as they're concerned, what you have just sung does not make meaning to them. It's because, I feel it's because we have just allowed a lot of things to do. You talked about value.
Yes.
Now, our cultural heritage, how can we instill it? How can we help when we talk about using music?
Okay, to be able to bring our younger generation, in line. I'm talking as a younger generation because at least I began the music very early, so I've seen a bit of transition from before the internet age. I saw what music was like, where if you wanted to record, you have to do everything, no shortcut. Just like there is no shortcut to those to valuable things, I think we need to do a bigger job, probably create more, like what is happening with the Calabar festival, the Calabar Carnival, or like what's happening with the Argungu festival. We need to involve younger people in those kind of things that uses music as a tool. For instance, I know the Calabar Carnival is one of the biggest show that displays both culture, both in music and art. So we need to get more younger people involved in such things. And then secondly, as musicians, as younger musicians, we should not feel that the old people have expired and so try to move on. We cannot move on. I think that collaboration, let's go back to time, look for those who have been there. Carry that their cultural thing that you say you don't like, right? And try to put some modernity to it instead of trying to just throw it away. Sometimes I travel to the village to sit where these older people are singing, so I can catch a line, because some of their songs are even anonymous. So you can pick an old and anonymous song and bring it into modern time. And there is nothing wrong with it. In that way, you are bridging both the gap between the old and the new, and you'll be more relevant. Musicians who are singing old songs have more relevance over time than those who are trying to copy.
Wow.
Like I say, no matter how you sing like Oyibo, you are only interpreting their culture.
Their culture,
You cannot separate
not yours.
music from culture. So the earlier you look for your cultural people, the older people, let's collaborate with them. I'm going to look for an old person in my place very soon and do a collaboration.
Wow.
Let him sing in that is native too. I will play my modern guitar and use my modern voice to probably sing the chorus. That's one way we can bring younger people to.
Okay, we'll continue this conversation after the break. I like it. You can't separate music from culture. Let's go on this break. When we come back, we'll see more. Please don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Hello friends, welcome to Kiddies World. My name is Omar with Erse. Here with me is
Oguntayo and Kwasi Justina, and today we have many fun things in store for you.
I had so much fun and I hope you had fun.
Exactly, it was exciting, especially when I saw the lion, orchids, and buffaloes.
All right, before we went on a break, Sid Rock said to us, you can't separate culture from music. For an upcoming artist, for a younger person who wants to go into music, like you, what would you say to such person?
Well, simple. It's just simple. There's no standing alone in this industry or in this music. No matter how you want to stand alone, you will not go as far as you want to go. So collaborate. Look for those who are ahead of you, or look for somebody who has something to complement what you are doing. That's it, because everything you are trying to say, somebody might have said it somehow before. Just find that person that can complement you. Be innovative, but also be collaborative.
Wow.
That's the simple one. Don't leave your cultures behind. Always put the message in your songs. Just put it there. You
Okay,
have
thank you
values.
so much. No man is an island.
Yeah.
That's just it.
Yeah.
Always put your culture in your songs, and I tell you, you will just find out that, like they use the word, you blow.
Yes.
You will definitely blow, because people are just used to some kind of music. They are looking for something new. You understand? So thank you so much,
Thank you so
Sydney.
much,
And we,
man.
like I always say on the show, the sky will be a starting point.
Yeah.
So we look forward to seeing people singing your song all over the world. Thank you so much. You've heard it. Please add your culture into your music. Okay. Remember that that's what's trending. For me, that's what's trending. Nigerian music is trending all over the world. So if you want to blow, okay, make sure you carry where you're coming from and add to where you're going. Please don't go anywhere. The program is still Good Morning Abuja. We'll be right back after this break. Yes, thank you for staying tuned. Before